You are pinned to a cot in a dim canvas tent. A massively muscled Spartan commander is hovering over you, tracing your jawline. You think this is the ultimate hyper-masculine romance. Wrong. You've just been drafted into the most suffocating, non-consensual team-building exercise in human history. Welcome to ancient Greece, the era modern academics drool over as the absolute pinnacle of celebrated male love. But before his bronze chest plate hits the dirt floor, the psychological trap violently snaps shut. He isn't your boyfriend. He is your Erastes, your commanding officer. You are a young, heavily armed soldier, and you are essentially an unpaid, mandatory emotional support animal for a guy who just spent 14 hours dismembering people. The Greek generals didn't promote this romance because they were progressive. They promoted it as a psychotic, calculated military hack. They realized that if you're intimately bonded to the guy next to you, you won't run away when a terrifying wall of bronze spears charges your face. You aren't a couple. You are a highly effective employee retention strategy for a meat grinder war machine. So when he pulls you onto the rough wool blankets, the domestic reality is skin crawling. You are forced to provide deep, passionate intimacy to a literal walking weapon. And worse, after he finishes aggressively using your body, the dynamic flips. He pulls you against his scarred chest and spends 2 hours violently venting about phalanx formations and military politics. Your romantic pillow talk consists of sharing a wool blanket with a human meat grinder who expects you to be his naked, personal therapist, and you cannot claim you have a headache. Rejecting his heavy hands isn't just a bad date. It's a court-martial offense. You are immediately labeled a coward and cast out. You are forced to submit to a warlord, purely because denying him ruins your entire career. You survived the Greek war machine, only to be traded for imported silk. Welcome to ancient Rome, the most opulent, unapologetically bisexual empire on earth. You are completely naked, draped across a massive silk couch in a heavily guarded villa. A massively wealthy Roman senator is feeding you imported grapes. He whispers absolute devotion. He buys you solid gold armbands. These heavy metal bands dig painfully into your skin, leaving deep, bruised indentations that you are strictly forbidden to complain about. It feels like a celebrated same-sex utopia. Then, he casually orders his guards to violently whip a servant over spilled wine without even asking you to leave the room. The psychological trap snaps shut before you even hit the bedroom. He doesn't view you as a partner. He views you as premium, breathing luxury furniture. In ancient Rome, there are no gay or straight identities. There is only one terrifying rule: who penetrates and who is penetrated. To the senator, taking you to bed makes him an apex predator. It's a calculated flex to prove his unchecked dominance to his political rivals. When the heavy oak doors lock behind you, the dynamic is chilling. He expects you to be a passive, compliant, biological stress ball. You submit to his massive ego in the dark, acting as a human accessory to soothe his political insecurities. He literally whispers tax legislation and assassination plots into your ear while he uses you.
Nice.
You provide passionate intimacy, knowing you hold the exact same social rank as his favorite imported vase. But for you, your social credit score is completely radioactive. If you ever try to flip the dynamic or act dominant in the bedroom, you are ruined. A free Roman citizen acting submissive is a career-ending, humiliating scandal. It is the ancient equivalent of having your most pathetic internet search history chiseled into the Colosseum for the empire to laugh at. You are a disposable political campaign prop, expected to perform flawlessly and sit quietly like an exotic pet. You spit out the Roman grapes and flee east. Welcome to Edo period Japan, the ultimate sanctuary for gender-fluid beauty. You are a wakashu, a breathtakingly beautiful gender-fluid apprentice. Wrapped in heavy, vibrant silk kimonos, your face is meticulously powdered white. You sit in an exclusive tea house surrounded by wealthy samurai bidding absolute fortunes just to pour your tea. They write devastatingly explicit poetry about the delicate curve of your neck. You hold the entire city in the palm of your hand. But the exact second your patron buys your contract and locks the paper door, the horror sets in. You aren't a god. You are a biological ticking time bomb. Your patron doesn't love you. He is actively fetishizing your expiration date. Your physical safety and power are tied to a merciless countdown timer. When he strips off your kimono and pulls you onto the futon, the intimacy is entirely performative. You hold perfectly still, offering intense submission to a guy 3 times your age. You act out his highly aestheticized fantasies of fleeting, tragic youth. You provide absolute obedience. Knowing his affection is strictly tied to the flawless elasticity of your skin. Every morning, you meticulously inspect your face in a bronze mirror, terrified that a single blemish will render you financially worthless. Because you are essentially a human Snapchat filter. The moment you grow a single stray chin hair or undergo your coming-of-age ceremony, he doesn't break up with you. He simply stops perceiving you. Your beautiful forelock is shaved off. Your elite status violently evaporates. You go from being the most fiercely desired person in the empire to a completely invisible adult overnight. Society drains your beauty and tosses you into the dirty street the exact second you get your first wrinkle. The Japanese hourglass runs out, and you are violently thrown into the blistering, incense-choked heat of the 17th century Ottoman Empire. You step into a lavish courtyard, eyes lined with thick black coal, swaying to heavy drums. You are a Kochek, a stunning, highly trained, heavily made-up dancer. Heavily armored Janissary commanders pant, sweat, and throw gold coins at your bare feet. You think you are the ultimate untouchable seducer. But before the music stops, the terrifying reality reveals itself. You aren't a seducer. You are a biological hand grenade. These commanders don't just want to sleep with you. They want to exclusively own you as a public display of territorial dominance. If a rival regiment disagrees, they don't politely ask for your consent. They draw curved scimitars and start a blade-swinging tavern brawl that burns down half of Istanbul. When a battle-scarred soldier finally wins the riot and drags you into his quarters, you play the devoted partner. He is covered in the literal blood of the men he just slaughtered to win you. You are forced to sit on a silk bed and gently wipe the gore off his knuckles with a damp cloth. You provide soft domestic affection to a violently territorial sociopath. The heavy incense in the room barely masks the metallic stench of fresh violence. Your romantic savior is actually just your new, heavily armed warden. After he aggressively uses you in the dark, you stroke his hair and listen to him brag about the men he hospitalized for looking at you. You shiver in your expensive skirts, terrified a rival gang might kick the door down to claim you. Your sexuality is a public hazard, and you are just an extremely expensive piece of stolen property. You survive the Ottoman war camps and flee to the undisputed capital of queer aesthetics, 15th century Renaissance Florence. The city is a massive sanctuary for queer men, so notoriously fluid that foreign countries use the city's name as a literal slur. You are a beautiful, smooth-skinned artist's apprentice. A legendary master spots you. The sexual tension is thick enough to cut with a chisel. He invites you to his private studio and locks the heavy wooden door. But before you unlace your shirt, psychological paranoia paralyzes you. Florence is a terrifying, deeply hypocritical surveillance state. While the Catholic Church pays top dollar to stare at your painted glutes on a ceiling, the government is actively hunting you. The city installed anonymous truth boxes on every street corner for jealous rivals to snitch on your bedroom habits. When you finally pull the master into his paint-stained bed, the reality is suffocating. You can't even enjoy the intimacy. You sweating, holding your breath, listening for heavy boots outside the window. You hold grueling naked poses for hours, providing physical and artistic intimacy while waiting for the trap to spring. This incredible artistic validation feels like absolute poison. You are playing high-stakes hide-and-seek with the Ufficiali di Notte, the officers of the night. This state-funded vice squad exists solely to kick your door off its hinges at 2 a.m. and fine you into crushing poverty. You are a hypersexualized Greek god for the Pope's artwork by day, but a terrified financial piñata for tax collectors by night. You shatter the Renaissance marble and fast forward to the ultimate golden age of queer liberation. 1920s Weimar Berlin. You walk into the legendary El Dorado Club, wearing a sharp tuxedo, flirting openly with drag queens. Medical institutes are dedicated to studying and protecting your identity. For the first time in history, you feel completely legitimate. You lock eyes with a gorgeous singer, take him to your apartment, and lock the door. But before you even unbutton his shirt, your progressive paradise has doomed you. That institute providing groundbreaking medical care. It is a highly efficient, government-sponsored data collection center. The progressive doctors validating your existence are silently compiling a massive registry of your deepest desires. They create exhaustive filing cabinets detailing your exact identity, home address, and psychological profile. As you pull this beautiful man into your bed for a night of unashamed passion, you are completely oblivious that you are dancing on a bureaucratic volcano. You are tangled in bedsheets, unaware that a mile away, your exact targeting data sits in an unlocked manila folder. You share a cigarette completely blind to the bureaucratic guillotine hanging directly over your neck. You trust the very medical system that is hunting you. Because the 1930s arrive. The regime flips. The new leaders don't have to hunt you down. They just walk into the progressive clinics and pull out your exact paperwork. The bureaucracy that made you visible is weaponized to methodically delete you. Progressive acceptance was just a terrifyingly efficient way for the state to crowdsource its own hit list. The most accepting societies in human history were never actually safe. They just found more efficient ways to commodify your body, weaponize your relationships, or digitally track your existence. You survive it, you endure it, but you never, ever escape it.